Then I thought I was going to die. I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't look at another. Hey guys, it's Jermaine and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time on my channel, I just want to say welcome. My name is Jermaine. I make videos about the fat acceptance, fat liberation, body positive movement. I share with you guys my thoughts in this community and also how they influenced my life back when I was obese myself. I used to try to convince myself that I was beautiful and I didn't need to do anything. I was fine just the way I was, despite not believing it truly on the inside or not feeling it. I was very unhealthy. My knees, my joints, my back, I was just a mess as an overweight person. And then along the way, I had an epiphany, I changed my life, and now I'm on this side making videos exposing that community and how dangerous and how cult-like they are and how it needs to be stopped. So if you're into those kind of videos, you'd like to hear my take on stuff, then you might want to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell because I upload new videos at least once a week. If you're returning to my channel, I just want to say, welcome back. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for being a part of my little family here on YouTube. I love you guys and appreciate you so much. I really do. Now, for today's video, I found this clip on none other than TikTok. ABC News Australia posted this video. This girl started this community for fat acceptance movement. All these women who are overweight and obese and feel like they need a community. There's this community that's built, and you guys just take a look at this video and then I'm going to share my thoughts on this.
Most of the world looks like me. 60% of Australians are considered plus size or overweight. I started hosting these retreats because it's really important as fat people that we have some positive representation. And on top of that, some visibility. I feel that a lot of society feels that fatness is something that people are working towards changing. And I think that slowly society will recognize that fat people should be accepted the way that they are right now.
This is my first time at any fat camp and I'm super excited to be here. So I've always been a bigger girl and it hasn't always been something that I've accepted. I remember as a child always being put on diet, being told I need to exercise more or eat a certain type of way to lose weight because I was always the biggest kid in my class. I didn't have fat friends. And even my parents who are bigger, we're always trying to lose weight to look more like the beauty standard.
I think it's really important that society recognize that fatness isn't something that we need to work towards changing. 70% of Americans are considered plus size or overweight. So generally, in most countries, most of the population is considered plus size or overweight. And that is not anything we should be ashamed about.
Don't get caught up on the size that you are and, the trends that all the skinny girls are participating in, what you can and can't do. Just be true to yourself and love yourself.
Most of the world looks like me.
Okay, so it's time to break it down. Just based on this video alone, one thing I feel like I've gathered is that I think diet culture is what created fat acceptance movement. And when I say diet culture, I'm talking about the unhealthy diet culture, not the eat more protein and less carb, not that diet culture. It is the soup diet, juice fast, try not to eat for 48 hours and then eat the extreme kind of fasting, shakes, just do those Herbalife shakes and don't eat food, replace your foods with some kind of shake. I think all of these things is what created fat acceptance. And let me tell you why I think so. There may definitely be other factors, but I think one of the common theme every time somebody who's overweight talk about how they are in fat acceptance and how they've learned to embrace themselves just the way they are, they always go back to talking about how they were on extreme diets or how they lost weight from doing extreme diets and then they gained it all back and then they're just tired. So I feel like fat acceptance was formed out of bitterness and retaliation. Therefore, it's not a positive movement. It's not a movement that encourages people to be better. Instead, it's a movement for people who were abused and bullied for being fat, people who are so exhausted by the standards of thinness and having to be thin and having to go on extreme diets. They may not have been educated properly on nutrition and calories and things like that. AKA me, I was also one of those people. I didn't know anything about calories. I didn't know anything about nutrition. All I knew is that if I either starved myself or I went on some kind of extreme diet, like I told you guys, I did the soup diet a long time ago, only then I'll get to lose weight. As a child, I think some of these people may have either been exposed to unhealthy food options, like all this highly processed food, maybe due to their parents not having enough money, not having enough income, and also at the same time not being educated on the right food choices that they can substitute if they cannot afford the best version of it. What is something that they can afford, the cheaper version of it. So instead of knowing all these things, all the parents are thinking is, I just need to make sure that my kid is full and there's food in their stomach. So they just make all these tin food packet foods, processed things. And so these kids grow up eating all this kind of food as a child, and then they have childhood obesity, and then they grow up being obese as a child, and they don't know why they're fat, and maybe even their parents are obese as well, so their parents don't know anything about portion control. So the parents is also giving the kids like large consumptions of food. Maybe a 6-year-old is eating the same quantity of food that the parent is eating. The kid is used to it. This is their norm just because they are able. Like some kids cannot. Some kids are like, no, I'm done, I'm full. Well, some kids come from a home where the parents could probably be like, be grateful that you have food, finish every bit on your plate, and so they just eat, and then their stomach grow and they have the capacity to eat so much more, and then they're always hungry. They eat so much, and then now they struggle with their weight, and then they go into their teenhoods, and then they see that their friends are slim, or the boy that they likes their friend instead of liking them, and they realize that, oh, it's because of my weight, or they get bullied about their weight, and then they go into this place of like, I need to be thin, and then they try to starve themselves, but it's almost impossible. It's so hard for them to do it. I've heard jokes of people saying like, I don't have the willpower to be anorexic. Like people joke about things like that, but it's because you look at another struggle and you think, okay, that struggle would be better for me because I'm having this struggle. But actually both is equally as bad, and that's such an unhealthy thought. But unfortunately, because you're not educated on it, that's where your mind goes. And then after going through all of this, and then you go into your adulthood and the same thing is happening. You're trying to go on like some kind of soup diet, some kind of weird diet, and then after you get really tired, you retaliate, and then some person start fat acceptance movement, and then you come from a background of going through all of this, and you look at the fat acceptance movement as your savior. You're like, oh my gosh, I am tired, I am so done, I'm just going to embrace myself like this because I'm not the only person who's fat. There's so many other fat people in this world, and maybe fatness is normal. Why am I trying to do something that's so hard? And then there's the other group of people that probably grew up in a toxic environment. I have a friend who grew up in this environment, slightly a little bit bigger as a child, and I've seen kids who are a bit more bigger as a kid. They always call it baby fat because suddenly they hit puberty and they lose all the weight. What happened there? And I feel like sometimes like when your kid is not obese, when your kid is just a little bit chubby when they're young, I think it's so ridiculous for parents to panic and then put their kid on like some weird diet. And that's what happened to my friend. Got put on like diet non-stop as a child. Grow into her teenhood, she had to take like Herbalife shakes and stuff like that. Cannot eat food, had to be on strict shake diet as a teenager. That's not normal. And then after some time, the parents couldn't afford those shakes because it was too expensive, so she had to go back to eating normal food, and eating normal food suddenly on her tongue, like this is, oh my god, this is like the best thing ever. And then she became fat again. In fact, she became like even bigger than she ever was before. And then she became an adult, she had her own money, she was able to have access to all the food that she wanted. That's what she did. She just ate so much more, and it's all because of the toxic environment she grew up in that were forcing her to be on diets her whole life as a child. Because some parent was so worried that their kid is going to be overweight just because the kid was a little bit chubbier as a little girl, which is so wild because I know personally of kids who I've seen who are kind of chubby at like 9 years old, and then suddenly they hit 12 years old and they hit puberty, all that weight just disappear. If parents were to just let the kid be kid, make sure they do activities, make sure they eat right, don't bother too much about their weight when they're so young. Give them time to grow up. So I feel like all this craziness, either side of the spectrum, parents who don't have any knowledge on nutrients and parents who don't know anything about, maybe obese parents who don't know how to feed their child right because they themselves have been eating very wrongly, as well as kids who come from toxic environment, or teenagers who come from toxic environment where the parents are forcing them to do like weird diets. Then you grow up into the world and then you're just exhausted. I feel like these are the group of people that seek shelter under the fat acceptance umbrella. I think fat acceptance is made up of all these people. They have a wrong understanding on weight loss and the correct way to diet. I really thank God that when I decided to go on a weight loss journey, I had the internet, because with videos of other people losing weight, realistically doing it, and not being on like some wild diet. They were eating all the foods that I was already eating, just that they were controlling their portions. They were making things more from scratch. Previously, I shared a video on how I lost weight. I talked about how initially when I wanted to lose weight, I went on a soup diet because that was the only thing that my mom knew about. She knew a friend of ours who went on a soup diet and lost a whole bunch of weight. And so she was like, okay, if you want to lose weight, I can help you. You should go on a soup diet. And so my mom would make me all these wild soups, like vegetable soups, beetroot soup and pumpkin soup and just all kinds of soups. I was doing that for like 2 weeks. Then I thought I was going to die. I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't look at another soup. The texture, the smells of soups was just like, I couldn't do it anymore. And then I did a no sugar thing, which is great. It helped me. It didn't help me lose a lot of weight. It just made my stomach go kind of flat. And then like I lost a little bit of weight here and there. And then after that, what? Nothing was happening. Because the truth is, I mean, unless you have some kind of disease or you're training for like a specific competition, or you're trying to get like a specific look, and you're trying to reduce, like go to like extremely low body fat, all those type of things, unless you're trying to do those kind of stuff where you need to eat, go on like crazy diets. Weight loss is literally just eat whatever you want in moderation and try to choose whole foods over processed foods. Like, that's about it. It's not even that wild. And if you think about it, if fat acceptance, all these fat obese people from fat acceptance movement, if they were to just cut their food consumption that they're doing right now to half, but don't necessarily change so much of their options right now, maybe swap out a little bit here and there, it's impossible that they won't lose weight. It's about whether they want to do it or not, or whether they know how to do it or not. Because I feel like we live in the day of internet. It's impossible for you not to know that there are resources out there, that there are options out there for you. And I feel like you can't say, oh, weight loss is just like crazy diets and I cannot do it and nobody should have to live like that. It's true, nobody should have to live like that. And if you go on the internet, there's like tons of videos that shows you how to lose weight without doing anything wild and crazy. I do believe that this is a message that fat acceptance people definitely did not hear growing up, because I did not hear this message growing up. Even from my mom, like she was in the 90s. In the 90s, diet culture was like a huge thing. Everyone was selling you some kind of cream for fat burning, some kind of drink to drink. Like, I remember my mom and her friends just always talking about weight loss back in the 90s when I was a little girl. I used to hear them talk about weight loss. My mom used to go for aerobics, and then like she and her friends used to talk about trying out those different things at the TV. Remember those like shopping channels would always be posting like some kind of advertisement on some weight loss supplement of some sort. My mom was in that era, so to them, weight loss was something crazy and drastic like that. Weight loss wasn't just cut down on your portions, or it would be like just completely don't eat rice, just completely don't eat bread. Realistically, this is why people give up. This is why I could never go on a weight loss journey a long time ago, because I thought this is how you need to lose weight, and I couldn't do it until I started watching YouTube videos of other people doing it. They were eating all the things. They were eating bread, they were eating rice, they were eating meat and vegetables, just like what I was already eating. They were just eating it at a smaller portion. So when fat acceptance are like, oh, why only skinny people can eat whatever they want and fat people cannot? No, skinny people are eating whatever they want, but with a different type of portion. You're eating what's meant for 3-4 people in one sitting, and that's why skinny people are skinny and you're not. And if at all you wanted to go on a weight loss journey, there is so many options for you to do it the sane way, where you wouldn't go crazy. There is options for you to do it. It's whether you want to or not. We live in a time of Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube. Like, anywhere you go, you will find content. People are posting things that will help you. It's whether you want to do it or not. I followed a girl who lost 100 pounds in 6 months while eating chicken and vegetables and bread and pastas and all these things in moderation. She was also showing videos of her eating like chocolates and ice creams and cakes here and there. Heck, I lost 80 pounds doing the same thing as well. I was eating whatever that I liked. I was just eating whole foods, and then I would also incorporate on weekends, like when I go out with my friends, I would eat waffles and I would eat like this and that. It's just portion control. Just because you're tired and you gave up, that doesn't mean that being obese and overweight is okay.
I think it's really important that society recognize that fatness isn't something that we need to work towards changing. 70% of Americans are considered plus size or overweight. So generally, in most countries, most of the population is considered plus size or overweight, and that is not anything we should be ashamed about.
Just because a large majority of people in your country is overweight, how does that make it okay? Because the facts doesn't change. Whether you have 3 people in your country that's overweight or whether a large majority is overweight, you're all still gonna die. You're all still prone to getting some kind of disease. I feel really sorry for people who were hurt and destroyed because of diet culture and growing up in that environment, or maybe being exposed to that as an adult or a teenager. Like, I feel really bad for these people, and I can understand why you would want to retaliate and why you would feel exhausted, because it is stressful. I mean, I know what it's like. When I was young, I just didn't understand why I was so big. Like, it didn't make sense to me why I was so fat, and I just genuinely believed that it was just genetics. And then I would see the boys that I like would go after my friends, because when you're young, like, your world is just literally, when you're a teenager, your world is literally just boys. Boys define you. And I used to do like a lot of things. Like, I used to like perform in school. I used to do things that I would hope that, oh, maybe this would get them to see me. Maybe this would get them to see me. But no, in the end, I just realized it's because I'm fat. And it sucks. And then you're young and you don't even know why you're fat. All you know is that I'm fat. And then you go and continue eating 5 plates of rice. And then like here and there, I would be like, oh, maybe this is the answer, maybe that is the answer, and then I try to starve myself. Also, I cannot starve myself. I cannot go for more than half a day starving myself. Like, it's really, really sad being a fat kid.
I remember as a child always being put on diet, being told I need to exercise more or eat a certain type of way to lose weight, because I was always the biggest kid in my class. I didn't have fat friends. And even my parents, who are bigger, were always trying to lose weight to look more like the beauty standard.
So I can empathize with them and understand why they would be like, I just want something that would just accept me the way that I am. And then fat acceptance came to them, and that looks like the savior and the answer to their prayer. But the truth is, it's not. Hiding under the fat acceptance umbrella isn't going to remove the fact that you are still fat, and that fatness is not a good thing. Nobody should aspire to be like that. This shouldn't be normalized. Just because there is a large majority of people in your country who are overweight doesn't mean this should be okay and it's normal. No, it's not. Creating a fat party and celebrating your fatness because you were hurt by diet culture is not okay. It doesn't fix the problem. Imagine if there was a group of women who were hurt by their previous partners. Maybe they were like abused by their previous partners, and so they form like a group, a movement of women who just hate men and will never ever want to be in a relationship ever again because of their past hurt. Like, that's so ridiculous. You need to be seeking help to overcome the fear and the hurt that you've been through. I think the people in fat acceptance need mental help, because this sort of thinking is distorted. We're all pushed to feel bad about our weight and feel guilty about it and feel like so restricted because of diet culture, and then now you go to the extreme opposite and be like, no, let's just eat 10 cheeseburgers and be merry. Like, that's not okay. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell, because I upload new videos at least once a week. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. The links are in the description box below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.